Hey y'all, it's Heel Heat time.
Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. This is our TNA show for the week. My name is George Coles and let's go right into it. Now, before we get to this, as I mentioned on our Raw show, I took a week off last week to basically recharge my batteries and also to rework the format a little bit. Myself, it got a little bit boring doing the linear, this match happened, followed by this promo, followed by this match. I got to be too matter of fact, and I think it came over on the show. I didn't really get any negative feedback about it, just my own personal feeling. I think we've worked it into a new format that I think is going to translate better for both myself, my enjoyment, which I think will make you guys enjoy it better. It's always more fun when the host is having fun. And basically, everything that happens, we're going to split it into three categories. The so-so, meaning stuff that you could care less about, really. It could have been on the show, it could have not been on the show. The bad, which is stuff that you're just embarrassed with. And the good, which is stuff you actually enjoyed. And that's the format we're going to take going forward. It's going to allow us to tie things together that should be together, and not be so linear, and take more time to focus on the stuff we like or really don't like, and not focus on the stuff that we don't care about and no one cares about. First off, we're going to do the so-so, the stuff that we could have lived with or without. And my thoughts of the show last night, the call-out segment with Gail Kim and Lady Tapa, when ODB comes out and she's calling out Tapa, and Gail and Tapa just beat on her, only to see the return of Madison Rayne. I think it fell a little bit flat for such as a big of a return to the company, or to the division, as that should be. Madison Rayne, one of the all-time greats in the TNA Knockout division. Maybe it should have been hyped more. Maybe they should have built it a little better. I just think it fell a little flat, and that's why it falls in this segment. The next thing I want to talk about that was kind of so-so was the whole feast or fire thing. I was really on the fence. I almost put this into the bad segment because there's a couple problems. You have main eventers and enhancement talent all working in the same match. You have several guys, probably I think it was about 10 guys altogether. I didn't count, and I'm not going to name all the names. And there's 4 briefcases. 3 of them are something good, a world title shot, an X Division shot, and a tag team title shot, and then the 4th case is fired. So my logic, let's say I'm someone like Samoa Joe. I know that I can work my way into a world title match or an X Division match. Why would I care? Why wouldn't I just do enough to keep away from all 4, and then I don't risk running the gambit of losing that? Just my opinion. I think there's a little bit of weird logic to someone that wins actually loses. Having more, it would have made more sense if there were 4 guys, and let's say the first fall picks the first case, second fall picks the second case, so on and so forth. That way you got a better chance of, okay, I want case number 1, so I want to win. It kind of a little bit more logic to it. It was basically a spot fest. Samoa Joe, I think, was the highlight, and he didn't get any of the briefcases. He looked like an unstoppable monster once again. I hope that's the direction they're going to go with him. The 4 guys that picked up briefcases, which we're not going to see till next week what's in them, which is something I actually enjoyed, leave us on a cliffhanger. Ethan Carter III, Zema Ion, Chavo Guerrero, and Gunner. Gunner I thought was cool too, with the costing James Storm the briefcase only for him to get it. I thought that was a pretty neat thing. Continue working on their differences. Speaking of differences, going from the so-so into the bad. This is the stuff I absolutely didn't like. The segment with Dixie Carter, Jeff Hardy, and Magnus, where she says the stipulation is Dixieland, and who knows what Dixieland is, invites one or the other to come have a drink with her, which at the end of the show we see Jeff Hardy shows up. Just kind of thought it fell flat. The Dixie Authority character, to me, it's so against her nature, and you could tell it, that she just doesn't do well at it. I mean, her as a face authority figure, I would fully be behind, but you could tell that this is a forced bad guy, bad girl, whatever you want to say, image, and it's just not working for her. Now, next thing we had was that I consider on the bad list was the interaction between Ethan Carter III and Sting. Ethan Carter was calling out Jeremy Borash to wrestle him. I actually think that would have been better for his character than having Sting come down. There's nothing that Ethan Carter III has done that has shown that he's on the level of Sting to bring Sting out for the challenge, either to challenge Sting right then or to join up into the Feast or Fired, which he decided to do, obviously. I just think it's a little bit early to be putting him in the ring, even if it's just a little bit of interaction with a guy like Sting. Just my opinion. And last but not least, in the bad segment of things, the lack of matches. For a 2-hour wrestling show, we had 3 wrestling matches. That's bad. And it wasn't like any of them were 30, 40-minute classics. They were all right about the 10-minute mark. So about a quarter of the show is wrestling, and 3/4 of the show is segments and interviews. Didn't work for me. I'd like to see the ratio be about 30% interview, 70% wrestling. Let's make it about wrestling. If TNA really wants to put a dent in the WWE product, give us in-ring wrestling talent. That's why WCW was beating it, WWE back in the day, because you would turn on and you would see better wrestling on WCW. You would see the Cruiserweight division. You would see the likes of Dean Malenko, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho. You know, guys like Raven, DDP, Chris Kanyon. All their undercard talent was so good and so interesting in the ring that you didn't need to have silly gimmicks to make them get over. Yes, they had their share of silly stuff, and you can have your share of silly stuff. But give us the in-ring talent, give us the in-ring matches that we're not seeing elsewhere, and that'll bring us to TNA, the wrestling fans at least, which there is a sizable amount of us. It's a lot more than what they're getting. Now, coming off of that, before we get into the good segment, this is a staple of the show. It hasn't gone away. Our question of the week. Now, we didn't do one last week because I knew I was going to take a week off, but we're going to jump right into this week's. Who do you think that should be the future of TNA? Let us know which wrestler you think it is going forward for the next few years, who they should highlight. Hit us up on our Facebook, hit us up on Twitter, put it down where? Down there in the comments. Now, coming off of that, we're going to go into the good part of the show. And this is stuff I really liked on the show. I like the segment, and I know it kind of contradicts with the lack of matches. The segment with Angle and Rude I thought was really good. I think anytime you get these two guys together, I think they're the absolute cream of the crop in TNA. And then them working together, I love their feud. I love what's going on with it. Both guys look great, and they always will. Two of the absolute best in TNA. Very enjoyable segment. Followed by something, and this almost made it onto the so-so, except for one thing. One of the 3 matches of the night, Bad Influence versus Eric Young and Joseph Park. Hear me out. I've seen better matches between them. The match itself was okay, not great. Eric Young purposely busting open Joseph Park so he turns into Abyss. And then after the match saying, the reason you haven't found your brother Abyss is you are your brother Abyss. That was great. I'm more happy about this because I hope it gets away from the Joseph Park character, which I'm not a fan of, and we get the Monster Abyss character back, which I am a fan of. As someone that, when he first started, I thought he was just going to be a Mick Foley or Kane ripoff. But he's built his own style, his own charisma, and I'd like to see that character back. I think it's a way better fit for him than Joseph Park is. So that, to me, made this into the good category. Now, some other things in the good category. The Anderson coming out, doing his shtick where he was announcing himself, only to be attacked from behind by Bully Ray, who delivered an absolutely creepy, spine-tingling promo, which is lyrics from a Motley Crue song. That's fine, people. I understand, and a lot of people derived from it because of that. I think you're missing the point. The creepiness of it, the overall evil factor that was creeping into it is what he was going for, and I think he nailed it right on the head. I thoroughly enjoyed the promo, even though it was a Motley Crue lyric. Look back in history. Look at Raven. He took from, bass Edgar Allan Poe. He took from Nirvana. He took from Nine Inch Nails. He took from Ministry. He took from all over the place and used it in his promos. Everybody does it. Chris Jericho, he's taken from everybody from AC/DC to Spinal Tap to all over the place. And all your good people, they'll take little pieces of pop culture and bring them in and kind of give their own spin. I thought this was good. I really enjoyed the promo. It gave us something that I really thought was a great promo from Bully Ray, getting back to what he was doing before the Aces and Eights. Another thing I rather enjoyed was the segments where Rockstar Spud looking for AJ Styles. I think Rockstar Spud absolutely showed that he could be a future star, a bankable star in these segments. The segment with the gas attendant was funny. The segment where he goes in the bar and they force him to sing and he sings God Save the Queen by the Sex Pistols, funny. Him breaking into AJ Styles' house and the reaction when AJ actually shows up. The guy's charisma showed through. I think this was a star-making moment for him, and I absolutely enjoyed it. It was one of my favorite things of the night. Only beaten by one thing, my absolute favorite thing of the night. Austin Aries beating Chris Sabin for the X Division title. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Not the hugest Chris Sabin fan. I enjoy what he does in the ring. I don't like the heel turn his character's had. I never thought he was a good promo. His best work, I think, was part of the Motor City Machine Guns, where I believe he was carried a bit by Alex Shelley, who's a way better promo guy. But Austin Aries, like I was saying with Angle and Rude, and even add guys like Bad Influence in there, and Mr. Anderson, there's very few top-of-the-food chain wrestlers in TNA. Austin Aries is one of them. Having him be your TNA World or X Division champion, especially after his World Championship run last year, only makes that belt look better. Austin Aries is a guy that I think can bring in the casual wrestling fans, bring in the old school wrestling fans. He's absolutely spot on with what he does, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. To me, this was the segment of the night. Now, coming off of that, something that's been a staple of the show, and we're keeping it in as well, the rating system. Now, we have a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. 1's a Jesse Goddard, 2's a Garrett Bischoff, 3's a James Storm, 4's a Christopher Daniels, 5's a Bobby Roode. I'm giving this a 3, a James Storm. A lot to like about the show. I think it was drugged down by the lack of matches, drugged down by the ridiculous concept of Feast or Fired. Other than that, there was some real good. 2 of the 3 matches I thought on the show were good. So a lot of the interaction, I thought it was good. I thought we seen a real star-making moment with Rockstar Spud, who didn't look out of place in his moment as much as EC3, Ethan Carter III, did in his moment with Sting, which speaks volumes for the character of Rockstar Spud. Could have been a little bit better show, but I think there were some really good things to build on going forward. The Angle and Rude feud is going to be awesome. The return of Abyss is going to work well. Aries as your X Division champion, I think who's to say that's going to look really good going forward. Anderson Bully Ray with the continued feud. I like where that's going. A lot to build on for TNA, a lot for them to give us more and more impressive shows. But basically, that's all I have to say about that. My name is George Coles, and this has been another episode of Heel Heat.